My name is Tennyson Stead, and this is the 8-Sided Blog. Because it's such a big focus for 8-Sided Films, and because it's such a big focus of my time and passion right now, I want to take a few minutes to appreciate quantum theory and talk about what it means to me, talk about what it means to the company, and talk about the film itself. So, quantum theory is the story of Chelsea Barrington and Gertrude Monroe, who are two women of science who develop a prototype that lets them change reality with their minds. It's a big chair that you sit in, and there's these sort of like amplifiers around it. And they're convinced that they can develop this technology and that it's going to change the world. And the truth is, if such a thing were built, it probably would. So the whole first act of the film is about their efforts to find someone to pay for the things that they need and to put the prototype together and get everything working, and they do it. And as soon as the prototype is activated, the person who gave them the money to put all this together walks out the door and calls the defense contractor they work for and tells them to send in the goon squad and take this device away. Once that happens, this company uses the technology to change the world around Chelsea and Rowe, such that Chelsea and Rowe signed the patents over 5 years ago, sold the technology to this company, and Chelsea and Rowe wake up the next day going to work like they do every day in this new universe, developing this technology at a think tank, which is secretly part of this defense contractor, helping this evil corporation literally control reality. Casting was a big deal for me because I needed actors who can play with each other and at the same time who can carry the obviously critical stakes of the film. And I think that the real pleasure and spectacle of this movie is going to be seeing people communicate with each other and challenge each other in a way that's fun and quirky and nerdy. This movie is extremely nerdy. At the same time, it's important that the cast carries the world-changing stakes of the action of the story. Chelsea and Rowe need to save the planet from someone who they have essentially enshrined as the governing force of reality itself. It's God Incorporated is what they created, and they have to unmake it and find a way to steal this technology back. And the whole thing becomes kind of a 3-card Monte game of changing realities to see who's got the last trick up their sleeve. That I think is going to be a lot of fun for people to watch. We've also got some cool design, some cool effects, but ultimately this movie is not going to be super expensive. The whole thing was built to be shot in basically 3 locations. We've got a budget of around $1 million. And right now, the big challenge for me is to put that money together. When you're making a movie in this general budget range, when you're making a movie of this general type, the financing philosophy is to find a group of actors who are well-known overseas and who draw foreign audiences so that foreign distributors at places like Cannes and Berlin will commit to paying you to distributing the film, okay? What you do is you get those actors attached, you take the film overseas, you get commitments from those distributors, and you take those commitments to a bank and you take out a loan. Back in the late 90s and 2000s, when I was doing a lot more film finance, that could be all the money that you needed. Now, the foreign sales market isn't as strong as it used to be, and maybe at some point we'll talk about why that is. But these days you need to pad that budget with other sources of revenue. So you're still looking for soft monies. You're looking for commitments that you can take to a bank. You're not necessarily looking for hard cash. But you need to find it in places like tax incentives from places that want you to come and shoot there. Or you can find it from business partners that, for some reason have an interest in the film. And you compile all these soft monies together and you put together the budget of the film in basically a package of theoretical debt. You get the bank to invest in that debt, and now everybody's paid, and you go and you make the movie and you distribute it. I don't like it. Part of the reason why Hollywood's in such a mess right now is because all of the business decisions that go into making a film package work have nothing to do with what if the show sucks and what if nobody shows up. Because you're getting your money before, you're getting the revenue, you're getting enough money to pay everybody what they need to be paid in order to make the movie worth everybody's time before you find out if the movie's any good and before you find out if anybody sold any tickets. And the truth is, we've been reliant on these kinds of systems for so long in this industry that we've forgotten how to do those things. There's a lot of people in Hollywood who don't know how to make their community stronger and who don't know how to sell tickets to movies. And they're convinced that those are not important things to understand. I want to fix that. And I want my company and the people I work with to be sustainable and free of the damage that's being caused by not actually doing this work. There's a lot of things that you do have to do to sell tickets. There's a lot of things you do have to do to make people show up. And there's a lot of things you do have to do to make sure that the show is good. Those are the things I'm focused on. And ultimately, casting name actors isn't necessarily going to help me. What's going to help me is casting actors that, number one, I know can do amazing work on the script and in general, and who are and with each other. People who are going to be challenging each other to do better and inspiring each other, to people who have the habits of success, okay? And the other thing is that I need people who are willing to work with me in terms of building the community around the film. I want to be touring this film at the festivals for at least 2 years because touring has always been an important part of show business. If you look at every successful band, every successful comic, every successful sports team, they're all on the road, right? And we in this industry have a tour circuit. We actually have a festival circuit that's provided to us nonprofit, which is bananas. No other form of media has access to that accessible a tour circuit, and we don't use it for that. We use it to go look for distribution deals, which is, to my mind, madness. I want to make sure that I have a group of support with me, people who are willing to physically move around the country with me and show people the film and engage them and take them out for drinks and get to know the audience show by show until we have enough people behind us and enough people talking about us that we can release in theaters. That's my plan. And that's going to make the theatrical release successful because that's how you sell tickets to things. It really is not any more complicated than that. My long-term plan is to take the people who invest their time in this film and by the way, the whole tour circuit notion is just one of many aspects of this production that are going to be relying on old school, no-nonsense show business. Okay? It's just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a big part of what makes quantum theory. So, my long-term plan is to take those people who invest in quantum theory and to do other productions with them. They're going to be touring with us. They're going to be hitting the festivals. So we're going to make sure that we come back next year. Audiences know who's coming, at least to a general degree. They're going to know who's involved in Eight-Sided Films, who we are, right? And they're going to know when we show up that we're going to bring something different from what we brought last time, but that it's from the same people. That's going to be the through line that creates the brand for us, is the people themselves. And that gives us the opportunity to challenge ourselves and do other crazy work. Most of what we do is going to be involved in science fiction and fantasy. That's where my interests are, and that's the interests of the people that I work with to a large degree, you know. But it's also always going to be revolving around performance value as production value, using actors to create something excellent, in other words, and creating spectacle through performance. Quantum theory is an introduction to who we are. It's the film that's most like us, right? It's a bunch of big dorks trying to do impossible things with extremely high stakes. And if you look at the story that we've been through as a company, if you look at what I've survived as a human being, and I'm here to tell you, I'm not the only person, you know, in my immediate environment who's overcome enormous and traumatic events in order to succeed in an entertainment career. You look at that, quantum theory starts to make a lot of sense. We're fun. In some ways it's light and airy, but it's got some heavy things going on. It's got some real risk, and some damaging things happen over the course of that movie. People do terrible things to each other in order to succeed because they're willing to and because they can. And I think the audience is going to walk out of that movie theater having a real good appreciation of who they're dealing with and why we're fun and why we're challenging and why we're inspiring and cool. I think it's gonna get us across in a fun, exciting way. So that's what the project is. I'm gonna post a link to the IMDb page in the comments so that you can see who's involved in the project right now. Everybody on the IMDb is involved. If somebody's involved and they're not on the IMDb, I can't talk about it until we get further along in the process, and that's okay. And I am really excited to get on set. I think it's going to be an incredible amount of fun. I can't wait to spend that time with my actors. And once we're done on set, once the film's cut, and once the special effects are finished, I really can't wait to get on the road and show this movie to you. I'm hoping that we'll get the, whoever you are, wherever you are, hopefully we'll get the chance to meet in person, and see the film together, have some drinks afterwards, talk about it, and build our community from there if you like what you see. That's enough. I'm gonna log off. If you like what I'm saying, please click the like button, please click the subscribe button, and please click the little bell so you get the alerts when new, videos come up on our channel. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next week.